What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. Banks, coming at you live with another trade recap. I'm be going over supply and demand, how I found my trades today, and how we absolutely banked on AMD and NVIDIA. But go ahead, hit that like, subscribe, or follow button so that you don't miss any of this educational content I put out on a daily basis to make you a profitable trader, because that's what it's all about. Now, as you guys know, these are real trades that are taken every single day. Let me go and show you. I have AMD here. First one I'll be going over, looking for a double bottom bounce right in demand. How did I know that? Let's get into it. So we bring up AMD here, guys. This, for those who are rejoining me, you know I go over the same things. Why? Because I trade the same way. An important lesson when it comes to trading is you will take losses. There will be losses. But if I'm winning 80%, 90% of my trades trading the same way, that 10%, 20% at times, you don't switch up your method just because you take a loss. In the beginning, a lot of new traders will take a loss and then they switch up their method. Do what works, what makes you wins, how you execute good trades. There's going to be losses along the way. It's just a probability game. And in that probability, there's going to be losses. So don't switch up because you encountered a loss, right? Do what made you money, and over the long run, right, you will have that streak where you have that 80%, 90% win rate. And there will be that 10, 20% where you do take those losses. So, anyways, getting back into AMD, just wanted to throw that out there because I see a lot of traders struggle because they have things that work for them and they go on a streak of winning and then they take a loss or two losses. And they switch up their whole plan, their whole strategy. Do what was working. What works will have losses a part of it. Okay, guys. So AMD, how did I know? Double bottom bounce in demand. Let's take a look here. Let's zoom out a little bit. AMD's been selling off, right? Pretty weak name. What was I looking at? Well, as you guys know, I like to use the 4 hour, 1 hour daily. Let me break this down to you as we come back into a pretty heavy demand. I mean, we could take a look at the 4 hour here. Where are we coming back into? Demand, breakout, retest, right? What do stocks do over and over again? They break out and retest. So as we coming in here, one thing to note, what are we feeling? We're feeling an imbalance. There is an imbalance of buyers to sellers. So what are we coming in here? We are coming in to fill that imbalance. We are now back balanced right into a demand high probability setup. What is happening here? When sellers come down into this level, sellers have to sell their position. They have to buy back, or sellers have to buy back their position. And what do they become? They become buyers. If we see what happened here before, lots of buyers drove this stock price up into 174. So we know that buyers are heavy here. They love this. They love this zone, right? There's a nice balance zone here. They love the zone. The sellers are going to have to turn into buyers. So now we have buyers and buyers coming deep within to this demand zone. We have that imbalance fill. Everything was going for us for this bounce. So what am I using here? Using simple coming back into a demand. Breakout, we're coming back into a retest. If you don't believe me of these breakout retests, go back, look at the charts. You'll see them. It happens every single day over and over and over. We'll have a breakout, retest, or sell off back test, right? If we're coming back down to the downside for this breakout, retest, we have a nice imbalance. The imbalance filled. Huge demand, coming into a huge demand here, right? I mean, we had selling for 174, was definitely looking for a bounce into this huge demand zone. And if I zoom out a little bit more here, let me just throw this up here into this demand. You know, if we're looking here, what are we seeing? Well, we know that there was heavy resistance here. We know that there's buyers here since we pushed up. Nice little balance zone here. We broke out, we retest. There were sellers here, turn into buyers, and now we're coming back down to where the buyers just drove the price up the most recently. So if we know that, right, there's a heavy demand zone here, and we're on the 4 hour, big level. We fill the imbalance, looking for that double bottom. Now, coming back into today, what was I seeing? Nice sell off into demand, come up, retest, double bottom. So I wanted to see if sellers were now going to get exhausted, right? We had a big sell at the open, pushed down into that demand. We had a decent bounce, and then we sold off again, right? So sellers are still trying to stay in control because this is just painting a picture. Make it simple for you guys, right? All trading is buyers and sellers, right? That's all it is. It's a game of buyers and sellers. So if we see here more on the intraday, we already know they're in that big demand. We already know that we filled the imbalance. So we sell off, we bounced. Sellers try to take control again. And what happens? Buyers are now defending this area. So sellers tried to break us through that big demand once, failed. Tried to break us through that big demand again, failed it again. Where do you think that price is going to go? We're going to go up. A lot of times stocks will tell you where it's going to go by not where it's going to go. Let me say that again. Stocks will tell you where they're going to go by telling you where they're not going to go. Sellers failed twice here, failed to push us through. Where else are we going to go? We're going to go back up. And we had a perfect fill. We had an intraday imbalance here, right back into this nice supply, right? Nice supply, held for a little bit, sold off a little bit at close, but right, we fill these imbalances right back into the supply, double bottom bounce, right into a big demand, fill the imbalance on the hourly. I mean, everything going for it for this stock to bounce today. And especially, again, once we saw these sellers get exhausted here, especially on this double bottom, stock is telling me where it's not going to go. It's not going to go lower. So we're now going to go higher. NVIDIA today. This went 96%, by the way. NVIDIA today. Another one got questioned. How did I know to take puts at open? Right? We took puts at open today. How did I know that? Well, for me, seeing this gap up on the hourly, 4 hour, seeing this gap up, showing me that this was probably going to be an exhaustion gap. One, after a stock splits, we typically see some sort of sell. We didn't see that. Two, we have a major bearish divergence here on the hourlies, right? I'll show you on the 4 hour here. I mean, a major, major bearish divergence, right? There's going to be some sort of sell soon, right? There's going to be some sort of sell soon. We don't know when that is. But today, it definitely looked like buyers were exhausted, especially when I saw that gap up in the morning, showing me, okay, this is most likely going to be exhaustion, gap up, showing me that there's more than likely going to be some sort of trend reversal, right? We gap up, we failed, showing me that buyers are definitely now exhausted. And this usually happens at the end of a trend. So whether it's an uptrend or a downtrend, we will see an exhaustion gap. Now, if pans out to be a true exhaustion gap, we will see a deeper decline, and that'll show me that this will be an actual exhaustion gap. But so far today, you know what I was saying, major bearish divergence on the MACD. Typically, we see selling after a stock split. We haven't seen that yet. And after this gap up, it just seemed after we failed, we gapped up. I mean, we failed that high, failed that high, failed that high, showing me, you know, buyers are somewhat exhausted, right? They tried to push the price up and they failed, right? So, I mean, we got the gap up thinking bullish, right? No, gap up, exhausted, failing to go higher, failing to break pre-market high. This is showing me that buyers were exhausted, coupled with the fact that we had a huge bearish divergence on the hourlies. That risk to reward trade is now to the downside, and we absolutely hammered it to the downside. This was our first trade of the day today. So hope you guys got something from this. If you have any questions, you have any comments, please retweet, like, help get this information out to everybody. If you want to come trade with me, I trade every single day live and help make you guys a better trader. And I'll end it on this, guys. If you're struggling, stick with it. It took me 5 years to have my first profitable year. So to stick with it, guys, it will pay off. And I believe in you, believe in yourselves. You guys can do this. If you have any questions, again, drop them in the comment section. My name is Mr. Banks. I will see you next time, guys. Thank you guys for checking this out. Have a good one. Dun, 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 dun.